Travel Inside Out, and I'm Anita in Atlanta.
And I'm Stephen in Hong Kong, although my background isn't very Hong Kong this week.
I know, Stephen, where is that?
It's actually Switzerland, which is the theme of our show today.
And my background is Switzerland as well. And you all see someone else joining us today, and that is Claudio Zimp, who is from the Switzerland Tourism Office in New York. So welcome, Claudio. We're so excited to have you on the show.
Thank you very much. Hello, good morning, everybody. I'm feeling very underrepresented with no Switzerland background, but
hey, are your twigs in the background from Switzerland, Claudio? Maybe those.
No. This is very New York twigs.
Okay. Well, hey, you can go from New York to Switzerland very easily. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And our special guest, Claudio, is going to tell us all about Swiss chocolate. Now, I think we could be anywhere in the world and talk about Swiss chocolate, so it's okay. And then we're also going to learn about something that's a very interesting festival called the Alpine Descending Cows. Now, I've been to Switzerland a lot of times, Claudio, and I didn't know about that one, so I'm very, very interested to hear about that. And of course, we'll talk about a lot of other interesting things about Switzerland because, of course, the country is very diverse with lots of things to do. And don't worry, if you can't travel now, you can take all kinds of notes and, of course, go back and see this video many times and plan for a trip to Switzerland in the future. And also, we'll have some staycation ideas coming from Stephen, our staycation expert. I'm calling you Stephen. You have a new name, Stephen. And we'll also send up some highlights of this week in travel. So stick around for those things as well, because we have a really, really funny story to tell you during our highlights of travel news for this week. So do stick around for that. Now, Stephen, have you ever been to Switzerland?
Well, I haven't visited Switzerland, but I have been through Switzerland. I was actually on the Venice-Simplon Orient Express, which was a fabulous experience. And I remember I did it from Venice through to Paris, so I did that direction. And I remember waking up in the morning and going through Switzerland and seeing the mountains. Incredible. But I've actually got a few funny stories about the Venice-Simplon Orient Express, but I'll maybe save those for another show. How about you, Anita? Have you been to Switzerland?
Yes, I had the opportunity to go many times during my Pan Am career, mostly to Zurich, but also to Geneva a couple of times. And I've also been a guest of the Switzerland Tourism Board as well. So thank you, Claudia, for that. It was a fantastic trip. I was there covering the Christmas markets, which was fantastic. So I went to several Christmas markets, and I can't say I walked away with one being a favorite. They were all fantastic, and drank a lot of wine, saw a lot of Christmas decorations. Just inspired me to come home and decorate my house all over the place with that. So, Claudia, I don't know if you're going to give us a few little insights into how things would be this year for the Christmas market. I'd love to hear about that as well.
Yeah, the Christmas market season is, of course, always a very special time to visit Switzerland. It's really beautiful. With the decorations in the cities, our Swiss cities are very boutique, very small, a lot of pedestrian areas where you can walk around in the medieval parts of the towns, and which are really all decorated and with all the booths and the little shops for the Christmas season. To be honest, we are like everywhere else in the world, always are sort of like on a moving platter in terms of what activities can be done, what events can be done. So as far as I know, the Christmas markets are not confirmed for this year yet, but there is always hope. There's always hope.
Maybe even on a small scale. I'll have my fingers crossed for you guys because they really are fantastic.
Absolutely.
Corey, I would love to let people know a little bit about you because since August of 2019, you've been representing the Switzerland Tourism Head of the Americas. So this is all about really representing, the U.S. as well as the South American countries, I'm assuming. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we're present in Brazil, in South America, and then of course we have an office in Canada as well, and we're looking after the US with an office in San Francisco and in New York. Yeah, I joined here in the Americas a year ago. It was a very exciting time to come. We had 3 years of a booming market. We had 3 years back to back plus 10% increase of visitors figures coming from the US. So nothing could have gone wrong, right, with an appointment in the US. But then, of course, things changed in March. I have been with the Tourist Board for almost 10 years now. I have been living in Britain for quite a long time. Before I joined the tourist board, I was looking after the mice market in Britain for 4 years. And then the last 4 years, I was based in India, in Mumbai, looking after the Indian market.
Oh, Stephen and I love India. We've spent some time there together.
It's a
Many
fantastic
times in
country.
India.
It is a fantastic country, and the good thing is really people there are really in love with Switzerland. It's a really top destination for Indian people to come. Yeah.
But now,
I bet they love to see the snow, don't they? I can't imagine. Is there any? Well, there must be some snow in the mountain areas of India, but quite unusual.
There is, but because of the political instabilities in that area in Kashmir, it's quite difficult for the people to go and travel there. So, and it's much easier actually to take the flight to Switzerland to see the snow in Switzerland than rather within the country.
Hmm.
but now Stephen's from the UK, Claudio, and I know you spent some time in London with the Switzerland Convention and Incentive Bureau.
Yes, I mean, I had a fantastic time. I lived almost 15 years in London. So
Wow.
I was very much at home there. But then I was offered a job in India and I couldn't refuse. It was just too good of an opportunity. But still very, very well connected to Britain. That's very much my second home.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, well, I lived the first 40 years of my life in the UK, so very connected and love London. I miss it so much. And of course, hope to be able to visit soon, but that's off the cards right now. And actually, it was going to be my first question for you, Claudio. How has Swiss tourism been hit by the current pandemic?
Well, I mean, sadly, like all the other countries in the world, we've been hit very hard, of course, by the pandemic. We have, incoming tourism has pretty much collapsed during the summertime, the spring and also summertime. We have had the good possibility that it's sort of like the situation is under control within Switzerland at the moment. So hotels are open, tourism attractions are open, people can visit these places, but of course it's mainly Swiss people who are visiting now. So summer seasons are becoming more and more important. The weather gets more and more warmer in summer in Europe as well. So we had a fantastic summer in the mountain regions. They are really sought after now. These are the places where people want to retreat and get away from everything and all the people. They can really go to the rural alpine regions. And they had a very good summer with Swiss tourists. But of course, I mean, there's no denying it. We are missing our overseas guests quite tremendously.
So how do you think Swiss tourism is going to come out of the pandemic? What are your thoughts for next year, for example?
I mean, we are really hoping that our offering is really catered to the needs of the post-pandemic, right? I mean, we are thinking that people will want to go, as I mentioned, get away. They want to have not necessarily the big cities to stay in. They don't want to have the big exposure to many people. Our cities, even our cities in Switzerland, I mean, I always say they are glorified villages. Zurich is the biggest city in Switzerland and has 450,000 inhabitants. So really, I mean, even if you have a city break in Switzerland, this is not to compare to all these mega cities around the world. I mean, you will never be in a crowded underground when you go and see the sights. You will be most of the time will be able to walk in a pedestrian area to go to your hotel or to your restaurants or wherever you want to go. So therefore, we really feel that we really have something to offer for people to travel post-COVID. But of course, the big question is, when are the flights coming back? When are the borders open? Which is very much out of our hands.
It's interesting talking about London earlier. So London's 6 million people and Zurich 450,000. That really gives a sense of the difference in scale and size in a positive way, because when you sites, I mean, who wants to get packed on an underground train with hundreds of other people?
That's
Go on.
I said, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. And the other thing I think that's going to be really attractive about Switzerland coming out of the pandemic is the clear air. I mean, that's what I keep thinking about. Oh, it'd be wonderful to go to Switzerland, just breathe in clean, clear air and get that crispness there. But
Yeah, also like all these like boring attitudes of the Swiss, like are so well organized and everything runs like clockwork, which is really okay. Well, that's very exciting, right? But really, it becomes very exciting nowadays, right? I mean, we have a healthcare system who, fingers crossed, never have become really at the top level where you couldn't get any beds anymore. So it was really very well run in case something happens. And it's just, it's just very small. The whole place is very small in terms of the distances, in terms of the population, 9 million in total. So it's very compact, and you can really organize things very well.
Well, I was living in Singapore for 6 years, which is known as the Switzerland of Asia, for the similar reasons that the list that you just went through. Everything runs so well, and like clockwork, really. But so Switzerland obviously has got so much diversity in terms of what it has to offer the traveller. So I wanted to ask you, Claudio, where would your favourite holiday be in Switzerland?
Yeah.
Well, there's only one answer which the head of the tourist board can give you, which is like, I love all my children the same.
No favorites.
No, I think, really what I mentioned before, the compactness of the country really allows you to base yourself in one place and explore quite a lot, right? I mean, you can be in Zurich, and you can be in one day in the Bernese Oberland, where you go see the Jungfrau Mountain. You can be the next day in Lucerne. These are the following day at the Rhine Falls. These are like transfer of an hour or an hour and a half to max. So in other big cities, you would stay in one city and you go from one place to the other, and it's taking you an hour. So therefore, in Switzerland, you really have the whole country at your fingertip, really. But I have to say, of course, I mean, I really love the lakes in Switzerland. Being based at the lake, I mean, you have one in the back of your picture there, and quite often there's like just one after the other when you drive, and this is such a scenic and relaxing environment. Our lakes, all of them, many of them have these cruise ships on the lake, which just take you very leisurely from one place to the other, and you go past the scenery. When you go back on the other side of the lake, you can get off. You don't have to go back with the boat again. You can go on a train. The transport system is so easily connected. So just exploring and go through these most beautiful landscapes is fantastic.
It's a real bonus, isn't it? Not having to live out of a suitcase, but still be able to tour a country and experience the diversity.
Exactly. I mean, you really can have something very different every day without having to pack up at 6 o'clock every morning and schlep your suitcase onto the bus again.
Now, I think Anita has some questions on one of her favorite subjects.
Well, I do. I mean, Swiss chocolate, I think, is everybody's favorite subject, Stephen. So, but I will definitely claim it today. But before I jump into that, though, Claudia, I just, you were talking about going to all the different cities. Tell us a little bit quickly about the train system, because I know when I visited and went to lots of different cities for the Christmas markets, the train system is so easy to use.
I think it's really something which people from outside of Switzerland have quite a difficulty actually to grasp when they organize the trip. I mean, how easy really it is, no? So we have a very connected public transport system. It includes the railways, of course, but then also boats on the lakes are part of this transport system. When there is no railways up the mountains, there's going to be some buses up the mountains. And all of them are scheduled on the hour. So I say that if the trains from Zurich to Bern goes always at 10 past and at 40 past the hour. So you can always just plan very easily. Whenever you have a connection, you have like very good connections. So basically you have to be sometimes a little bit on the ball, no, no chatting around. You'll have to go and catch that connection. But what I really like about it as well is you don't have to have seat reservations, right? So basically you get yourself a ticket, which is a Swiss travel pass, which you can then access all of this. Once you're in Switzerland, you don't have to purchase any extra tickets. And, you know, of course, you make some plans. You go, say, to Lucerne, and you plan, okay, I'm going to go back at 5 o'clock because we're going to have dinner in Zurich. But then when you like it in Lucerne and you sit there on the terrace and you have a little shandy, drinking a little wine, you're like, oh, we'll have another one, and oh, we'll have another one. And there will always be a next train, right? I mean, you really don't have to rush because, I mean, there will be, you just hop on whatever train is coming. So that system is really one of our USPs. It's really also, you know, we're talking a lot also here in the US about sustainable travel. You know, we're trying to look after our planet as good as we can. And 90% of the energy which is used in train travel in Switzerland is from renewable energies. So this is all a very, very green way to travel as well once you're in Switzerland.
Fantastic. Now, I do want to switch over to a yummy conversation. So, Switzerland is, of course, very well known for chocolate, and in particular, Lindt chocolate, the home of chocolate. So can you tell us really, how is it that you guys have become so well known for chocolate? Can you tell us a little bit about the history?
Yeah, it's really, really funny because I mean, I'm quite open and I lived across the world, all over the world over the years, and I know that everywhere they have good products and good food, but when it comes to Swiss chocolate, if somebody tells me they have the best chocolate and it's not Switzerland, I shall be arguing quite heavily. So we have really, really, I can't help it. We just have the best chocolate. So of course the chocolate bean doesn't come from Switzerland. We all know that it comes from South America. So how did this come to Switzerland? The Spanish brought the chocolate bean to Europe. And eventually in the 1800s, it came to Switzerland. And what is really, what we've done to the chocolate is we have put the milk into the chocolate. So this is what made is our claim to fame, so that it's no longer the dark chocolate, the kind of bitter chocolate when you have the dark chocolate, and that it's much sweeter, a little bit you know, softer on the palate chocolate. So that's what we've done. These companies, which have, you know, been built in the early 1800s, I mean, they're still around. They have a long tradition. I mean, the first chocolate factory was Caillé in 1817, which is in the French-speaking part near Montreux and Lausanne. And these companies still exist and therefore have such a long tradition in producing these products, and quite clearly are the best in the world.
Well, I know pretty soon visitors will be able to go and visit Lindt, the home of chocolate.
Yes, so we have now Lindt is opening in September. A new attraction very close to Zurich, the home of chocolate, is a big exhibition where you can learn all about chocolate. I'm sure you had like these little chocolate fountains in the dessert buffets before and all. So they have actually the largest chocolate fountain in the world, and it's 22 feet large. So wow. You can go and see that. And of course, learning about chocolate is all well and good, but really what we all want to have, you know, we want the factory prices of the chocolate when we're there. So therefore, there's going to be a big shop to stock up on all the chocolates while you're there. There is really a lot of these very interesting attractions all over Switzerland where you can go visit the factory, see how it works, learn about the history, and really, as I said, I mean, the most important is, of course, to stock up for yourself and for your family.
Okay, can you tell me something about Lindt, the chocolate balls? They're one of my favourite things. But settle an argument between my husband and me because he always insists on putting them in the fridge, which is the chocolate. Yes, thank you. The chocolate go hard in the middle, and I just think that completely destroys the objective of it. It's supposed to be soft and like that soft centre.
Yeah, it's absolutely about against the law putting chocolate in the fridge. You cannot.
Thank you.
No, no, no.
Thank you.
So I mean, I learned this from a friend of mine who used to work for a very good chocolate company in Switzerland, and she told me off quite dramatically when I did it. So the consistency of the chocolate changes when you put it in the fridge. So in theory, really, you should not. Of course, you know what you're gonna do if you're sitting in the hot weather and you don't have a place to store it. But it should be stored in room temperature.
Thank you. I'm going to play this back. Play this back to my husband later, and I'll forbid him from putting chocolate in the fridge. Yeah,
well, I mean, in Hong Kong, it might be a bit difficult. You can't have just like an AC just for the chocolate, no?
Well, I think it would actually be worth it.
Okay.
The chocolate.
That sounds like a good reason to have a separate AC room. Now, this is I'm sorry.
Yeah, what makes Swiss chocolate so special, Claudio? You say it's by far the best, and I have to say I agree with you. But from your point of view, what makes it the best?
I think, well, I mean, the difference is that we have put the milk into the chocolate. I think in general, I think as with many other Swiss products as well, it's sort of like the ingredients, right? I mean, so, you know, you have the wonderful green meadows behind you.
Mm.
I mean, the cows in Switzerland, they just are the happiest cows in the world. You know, you can't deny it. They have a beautiful life, you know, those meadows. They eat the freshest grass. You know, it's not really artificial hay and what you have, so they're just roaming on the meadows. I mean, the water quality which they drink is excellent. It's the best of the water, and that just starts already with the milk. You know how the milk is then has a much better, higher quality. And then, of course, with the experience, I mean, it's unbelievable when you go into a shopping center nowadays. You know how many different you know, tastes you have. You know how many different brands you have, and you go like, oh gee, I just want a chocolate bar. You know, I didn't plan to be here for 15 minutes to go and make the choice. So I mean, really, the different flavors which there are now catering to all the tastes is really fantastic.
I think I saw bacon in chocolate, a chocolate bar the other day.
Bacon I haven't tried, but I mean, I have to say I'm quite partial to, you know, the spicy ones, you know, when you have salt on the chocolate, when you have chili on the chocolate and all that. I mean, I find that quite good. Might have had to do something with my time in India that everything else gets quite bland afterwards.
That's true. That's true. Well, this is probably a crazy question. What is your favorite chocolate, and do you like chocolate?
I do like chocolate. I do like chocolate a lot. I mean, there are some fantastic shops in Zurich which have really nice pralines. I mean, I know also that our friends at Swiss International Airlines on our planes, I mean, people are going crazy for the chocolates they're getting there on the plane already. But yes, I mean, as I said, I actually quite like sort of like the bit special ones, the ones with the spices, the ones with the chili on it.
That does sound yummy.
What you also mustn't forget, and that is something many people don't know, chocolate is very energy rich, right? So basically it gives you a lot of energy and it lasts very long, right? I mean, if you're storing it correctly next to your AC unit. So really, I mean, it can also be part of your emergency supplies, right? So, I mean, now that we have the crisis and we don't know when we can go to the shop next, so you must have a chocolate bar next to it always, you know, and if the crisis is bigger like it is now, then you have to have more chocolate bars next to it. And it's really just your responsibility so that they last until you actually need them.
So our tip of this week is to stockpile chocolate as much as you can.
I'm going out now to get my supply.
Mm.
As soon as our interview is over, you know where I'm going.
And we'll tell them you told us, Claudio.
Absolutely.
Right, that's right. But you talked about these cows now and producing the great milk. So Stephen, I know we found out about the cow descent.
Yes, we've been doing some research. We found out about the Swiss culture is very interesting, like any culture is, any culture that's kind of different to your own. It's fascinating to find out. And some very interesting cultural festivals. And one is the Alpine cow descent, where all those happy cows must be tending, I guess. But can you tell us a bit more about it, Claudio?
Yeah, I mean, it's really a fantastic tradition in Switzerland. And I'm, originally a real country pumpkin from where I grew up. So I really grew up in cow country in Switzerland, and it's been a big thing. So what happens is that the farmers take the cows up to the alpine meadows in spring, early summer, and the reason for this was that this would allow them to harvest the hay in the lower levels where they are during summer. So they had the hay in winter to feed the cows. So they're going on a hike. There's literally a hike up the mountains with all these cows and goats and what you have. And they spend the summer on these lovely alpine meadows. They feed there, and of course, they also give milk up on these alpine meadows. But you can't just go down to the local dairy 5 hours down the mountain again every day to drop off the milk once you're up there. So what they're doing is they produce cheese while they're there. So the farmers produce their own cheese. It's not like, of course, in the valley, you would have a special person who does it, the cheesemaker who does that, but so they have to do it themselves. So every day after they milk the cow, they start boiling the water, the milk, I beg your pardon. Traditionally it was over open fire, and quite often it's still done because these are fairly basic rustic little huts on these alpine meadows. And so they produce this cheese over the summer. And what they say there, it gives also a very special taste because of the herbs which are on the mountains, and the milk again has a different taste. So it's meant to be one of the most high quality cheeses which you can buy. And of course, after the summer, when the autumn is coming, before the snow comes, preferably they want to go down to the village again. And this is a big thing because probably in the olden days they haven't seen their families for the whole summer. Nowadays they probably go up and down in between as well. But it's a big thing to come down. So they dress up the cows. So the cows who has given the most milk and the head cow of the group, they get the biggest flower ornaments on their heads. Of course, they're wearing the traditional cowbells with the leather embroidery around. And the farmers, they dress up into their Sunday nices, the traditional Swiss outfits. And so they walk down to the village to come back to their families and to bring down the cheeses which they have produced. So this is really quite of a harvest festival, if you want to, almost. And often there is like a farmer's market with it. Sometimes there is there's a fairground with it in these villages, and just basically a great time for everybody. And it's fantastic because you can hear them from far away when they ring the bells, the cowbells. You can keep them coming, and all the kids go to the street and watch them walking down.
So you're talking about two of my favourite foods today, chocolate and now cheese. So this sounds like an amazing experience to watch the head cow and see how they're dressed this year. So what tips do you have for visitors who'd like to see and experience that?
Okay, so of course, I mean, this is a one-off in the year, right? They're only coming down once a year. They don't come up. They don't do this every Sunday for the tourists to visit. So you really have to organize the trip around their schedule rather than the other way around. So what we have on our website, on myswitzerland.com, in the events section, there will be the dates which are scheduled for those cow descents. So you have to pick one of those dates. and you have to organize your trip around the cows for a change, and not the other way around.
But we'll make sure we put that website address in the show notes for today, so people can check that out. I certainly would love to experience that. That's going to be on my bucket list. But one thing I'm thinking, with all these cows, there must be a lot of cow dung. Any tips on avoiding the cow dung?
Well, they walk down the street. So I mean, you are just those cars. They just drive through it. So this is part and parcel. You know, I mean, when you come to Switzerland, you know, we have the crispest air, but sometimes we also have a bit of other air coming your way from our animal friends. So that's all part and parcel.
Part of the experience. I think I'll be packing my Wellington boots just in case, Peter.
I know. Now, Claudia, do the people dress up as well as part of this festival in any kind of traditional costume?
So the farmers quite often do when they come down. So because of course you can't have pretty cows and then not pretty farmers, right? I mean, that would just not go. And then, you know, there is you know, often sometimes there's a dance, you know, with traditional music where people dress up. But I mean, it's not like everybody dresses up. It's not the main thing of the festival.
And what about the food? There's got to be food if you're talking about all this cheese and everything too. And of course, we know they're related to the chocolate industry. So what about the food during the festival?
Yes, I mean, one big part of the festival is, of course, also what we are calling the Gaasteilen, which means the cheese sharing. Because the farmers take cows from different farmers of the mountains as well, right? So I mean, they would have been looking after a number of cows from different families. So each family then will get their share of the cheese produced during the summer, according to how much milk their cow gave in the summer. So this is part of it. And then, of course, what is nice, you know, it's in autumn, right? Right. It usually is in September, mid till end of September, and the autumn as such is for me just a really fantastic period to travel to Switzerland anyway, right? So particularly for people who are not really enjoying the heat too much, right? I mean, and I think, you know, Anita, you're in Georgia, I believe, right? I mean,
and humidity, both.
So if your idea of a holiday is not to go into the heat, but rather enjoy a little bit fresher climate, the autumn is a great time to travel. It's also a great time to travel because it's off season, because there are no school holidays. Hence, you can get, you know, better deals on the flights and on the hotels. But for me, really, the autumn is really defined also by the food which is served, right? I mean, they are just, you know, it's so homely, it's so rich. I mean, it's also the hunting season in Switzerland, right? I mean, we have a very short hunting season in Switzerland, 3 weeks, where licensed people can go and hunt. So therefore, if you like game, then this is the season to eat game. They have the chestnuts, which are very typical in Switzerland. So I'm obsessed with a chestnut dessert, which is sort of like chestnut spaghetti on little cakes and with ice cream. This is one of my favorite. It also goes very good together with the game. So the food in this time of the year, together with, of course, the Indian summer feel with the forests, with the leaves turning all colors, makes this season a great season to travel to Switzerland.
Well, you've definitely told us a lot of great additional traditions that are taking place there in Switzerland that our viewers can learn about and can certainly plan their trips around those. But any others that we didn't touch on? Any other traditions you want to mention?
Well, traditions, I mean, I've just, you know, with the, many people know about the alp horn, right? The instrument, the big horn in Switzerland. That really is very much also connected with the farmers, right? I mean, it is going back to the 16th century. And, you know, one of the uses, practical uses of this was really a use of communication before the mobile phone area, right? So I mean, you could send a message to the next alm. You could even, you know, send a message down to the village, and of course, it would be probably rather quite simple, but you know, you could agree on a tune which says all is good, I'm going to bed now, night night. Or in a worst case, if some help was needed or so, you know, you could agree on a tune. And so this is really an old tradition which goes also back to these alpine farmers.
Well, is there a place where visitors to Switzerland can actually go and hear or see someone playing the alp horns?
Oh, quite often. So I mean, in Dinge, on many of the mountain excursions, there are alphorn players on top of the mountains waiting for you, and you can even try. Yeah? I mean, you know, being a tour guide with Switzerland Tourism, you always have to entertain the crowd. So of course, nothing more entertaining than Claudio trying to blow the alp horn. So you need big lungs, but it's possible. You can do it.
I know. I went to Mount Pilatus when I was there, and I attempted. I shouldn't even say tried. I made an attempt, but it was fascinating to really see it. And there was a couple there that was playing it, and it was just fascinating to see it. And know that it's such a long tradition there in Sweden to see that people are still doing it. So that is definitely great. But what about skiing? Because we haven't mentioned that, and winter is coming.
Winter is coming, yes. I mean, you know, the thing is with Switzerland, really, I mean, with the different seasons, you really get a totally different experience whenever you come to Switzerland. You know, I mean, the basics are the same. You have the well-organized, small, compact country. The train system runs all winter around, even in the biggest snow, you know, there is really, it's very reliable. But then, of course, we are looking at the holidays in winter for Europeans, for people who like skiing, is a big thing, right? I mean, it's fantastic, and I understand that, you know, in the US we have also fantastic ski resorts. But what I learned is that, you know, particularly from the East Coast, you know, traveling to Europe, of course to Switzerland, is actually often almost as quick as going to one of the ski resorts in the US. What we have, that the transfer from the airports in Switzerland, once you're in Switzerland, you're very quickly in the resorts. It's not like hours and hours and hours of drive. And I don't say this often, I mean, we are actually quite competitive with the pricing as well. So ski prices in Switzerland compared to the US are very attractive. Now, of course, you don't just have to go for weeks ski holidays. If you're not like an experienced skier, we have introduced a fantastic product, which is the first ski experience. Oh. So basically, if you happen to be in Switzerland in winter and you want to try it, you can book this. So now, you know, skiing is quite involved, right? You have to get the outfit, you have to get the gloves, you have to get the boots, you have to ski, and all that, and the instructor. So this product actually puts everything together. So you just rock up like you are, you know, with your little shoes, which are not really feasible for winter in Switzerland, because this is all you brought with you on your holiday. And then they will put you in a shop, they will dress you, they put everything on, they will have a ski instructor, and you can try for half a day with the ski instructor to see if you like it. If you like it, you go on, you book later on an extra extension. If you don't, you have your picture for Instagram, and that's all that matters nowadays anyway. So there we go. So this is our offering for people who want to try it once, you know, who are really keen to find out, but might not be ready to commit to a week's holiday, a full-on week's holiday skiing.
I love it. I love it.
That idea.
Yeah, the Instagram pictures. I'm sure a lot of people take it up for that. Look what I did in Switzerland, right? But now you have given so many great tips. But Claudio, let me ask you this. Now, do you have any insider tips? Because, you know, we are all about taking travel inside out. So do you have any insider tips, you know, to give our viewers so that they are ready once we kind of kick this whole pandemic thing to the curb, we can come. So any insider tips?
Absolutely. So I would like to speak a little bit more about the Swiss Travel Pass, this rail pass, which we've briefly mentioned before, because really there is so many inclusions in this pass, and quite often I feel that people are not fully aware what it gives you. So the pass, first of all, if you're traveling with your children who are younger than 16, your children travel for free.
Wow.
For the whole time. So this is an extreme big benefit for family travel in Switzerland. Then we have certain mountain excursions which are free of charge. So the Mount Rigi mountain excursion is free of charge in this travel pass. There are museums all over Switzerland free of charge, and they're quite fantastic museums. So there is a FIFA museum in Zurich, which tells you all about the world of football, like European football, not American football, of course. There is a castle, Chateau Chillon, in Montreux, in the Lake Geneva region. You have 500 museums which are free of charge with this pass. Now, not all of them are like the most exciting of the 500, but you will find a good 20-25 museums where you can have a free day excursion while you're in Switzerland. So for everybody who is in travel, who works in travel, I really would recommend to familiarize yourself with this product so that you can literally do an itinerary where once your guests have purchased this travel pass, that they can have a free excursion every day. And that will make your clients extremely happy.
Fantastic insider tip. Thank you for that. And I used that pass when I was there and got a chance to see a lot of music, just do a lot of things. It was so easy, very easy to use.
Absolutely.
And it also includes like the city internal tram rides and things like that as well, right?
Exactly. So basically, in all the cities, whatever is classified as public transport is included. As I mentioned before, the boats, pretty much all the boats are included. There are only quite a few, only a few which are not included. So again, you have a boat trip on a lake. In other countries, you pay good money to have a 3-hour boat trip on a lake, right? With this ticket, you have it already included in your pass.
That's a great tip and a very interesting statistic. You say 500 museums in Switzerland?
Yes, there's 500 museums which are included. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, let's find out a bit more about you, Claudio. How did you end up in the travel industry?
How did I end up in the travel industry? I mean, I knew from quite early on in my life that I wanted to live abroad. I wanted to explore the world, and going into the travel industry seemed to have been the easy way in, or the most obvious to me at the time. I became a travel agent, actually, an outbound travel agent, and did that in Switzerland. And then I started to move abroad. I lived in New Zealand. I worked for STA Travel, the Student Travel Association, which sadly just folded this week. And then I moved to London, where I then got a job for a tour operator who actually promoted Switzerland. And that was the first time I actually realized, oh, well, Switzerland is actually also a holiday destination, right? For when you're from a country, it's always like the other countries are the exciting holiday destinations. And the longer I started working there, the more I really found how incredible a product Switzerland is to sell. And I'm extremely happy to be able to do this all over the world.
Yeah, and well, I started my career in a travel agent for exactly the same reasons you, Claudio. I wanted to see the world, and I certainly achieved that and lived in several countries up to now as well, so it was a good start. But what we find is, because Anita and I from the travel industry, we meet lots of people from the travel industry, and we always have the funniest stories. So Claudio, could you tell us about the funniest thing that's happened to you in your travel career?
In my travel career, I mean, of course, there have been quite many funny things when you look back. When you were doing it, they were not so funny, like, you know, the ash cloud. I remember for many weeks I was responsible for aviation at the time at this tour operator, and, you know, we've been rebooking, you know, hundreds and hundreds of clients every day, and just would not stop. But actually what really was quite funny is I was working in Switzerland for sort of like a backpacker around the world student travel as well. And I sold a lot of around the world tickets at the time. And then, of course, at one stage I packed up, I moved to New Zealand, and I ended up working for STA Travel. And one day, somebody who purchased a ticket in Switzerland with me, around the world ticket, walked into the shop to revalidate his ticket because he needed to do a date change. So I thought, like, oh, well, that was quite funny. I mean, he was certainly not expecting me sitting there again to handle his booking also in New Zealand.
Goes to show you it's a small world these days.
It sure is.
Now, Claudia, I hope you'll hang around because, well, Anita's got an interesting list of facts on Switzerland.
Absolutely. I will do fact-checking, huh?
Yeah, well,
Yes, please, you keep us on track.
that's exactly it, Claudia, because I want to make sure. I know you mentioned that Switzerland's largest city is Zurich.
That's correct, yes.
Okay, so I got that one right. Okay, and then the capital is Bern.
That's correct.
Oh, so this would be a contest. I have to win something.
Yeah, that's 2 points.
Yeah.
2 points to Anita. Keep going.
Nescafe, the world's first instant coffee, invented in Switzerland.
Correct.
Yay! Is that a third chocolate bar, by the way?
Well, I'm running out.
Yes, from your stockpile.
Yes,
We know you have them now.
And a guy named Philippe invented the first wristwatch in 1868.
Mm-hmm. Very famous Switzerland for watches. I mean, it's still a big industry in Switzerland.
You guys are
And cuckoo clocks.
Well, the cuckoo clocks. Okay, now the fact checking comes in when if I'm allowed to. The cuckoo clock is very Anglo-Saxon, affiliated to Switzerland, but we are not really that cuckoo clock. Cuckoo clock is the Black Forest, really, which is close enough to Switzerland, but I think it mainly comes for this one movie where I can't even remember what that movie was, where somebody mentioned that the only thing the Swiss are famous are cuckoo clocks, and it's sort of like stuck with us.
-1 point to Steve.
-1 point, yes.
Back over to Anita. I think you should stick with this, Anita. You're way ahead with 4 points.
That means no chocolate bar for you, Stephen. That's what that means.
No, I think I might have to send you one.
There you go. There are two. And the world's smallest toolbox is actually a Swiss Army knife, which I think a lot of people have one of those. I mean, at one point it was really popular to have a Swiss Army knife. Everybody had one.
Yes, fantastic. And also, I mean, inside the tip, there is a factory in Switzerland, a Swiss Army knife factory, where you can go and you can create your own Swiss Army knife. You can put everything together and you can get your name put on it as well.
Oh, well, you know, that's a definite for people coming over. Nice souvenir to take back. And Albert Einstein invented the famous equation E=mc2 while he was in Switzerland.
Has lived in Switzerland and lived in Bern, yes, in the capital city.
Yes, and there's a museum there as well that highlights Einstein. I had a chance to visit that one. Now, okay, this is one that I want to know if you had a chance to participate in some of this, that most Indian films are shot in Switzerland. And since you lived in India for a while, have you, well, first of all, is that true?
Sadly, I have to admit there are some TV soaps, Indian TV soaps, which might have the odd appearance of yours truly in it. So there are Indian films have been shot in Switzerland for a very long time. It's a very big part of the Indian tradition, you know, seeing Switzerland. And we as a tourist board, we're still working quite heavily with Bollywood. But of course, there's always the need of a lot of extras. And while in India, you can afford to have, 50 people just standing around for 3 weeks waiting for somebody to call, we need you now. We in Switzerland can't do this, which means that, on call, half of the tourist board has to be available and do the extra work.
Ooh. Okay. That's very interesting. Okay.
7 points?
Is that 7? No, 7 candy bars.
7 chocolate bars, yeah.
Absolutely. But now, Stephen, I've started calling you now the king of staycations. So how can we, right now, doing the shelter in place, how can we have a Swiss themed staycation? We can pretend, along with our backgrounds.
Yeah, you get some backgrounds, and maybe on your TV, get some Swiss images on your TV or Swiss sounds, and I'll be sharing with you in the information for the show a website where you can get some background, 4 hours, I think it is, of Swiss country sounds, including cowbells and birds and the breeze of the air through the grass.
Oh, fantastic. You have to send that to me.
Yeah. So you put that on your TV, get the sounds, then you put down a picnic mat, and then you have some Swiss cheeses and Swiss chocolates, like a little picnic. And then maybe you could watch a Swiss movie. I found a website that lists different Switzerland movies, so might be able to find that. Or maybe you watch an Indian movie that was filmed in Switzerland. But either way, it has a Swiss twist. And so for dinner, of course, Swiss fondue, cheese fondue. Just checking Claudio's not rolling his eyes at anything I'm saying.
Pronunciation, very good.
Typically Swiss. This is what I need your help with now, Claudia, how to pronounce this. So for the main course, apparently a classic Swiss dish is leek potato and sausage, which I think you say papat vaudois.
Yes, that's French. It's a plate from this area. Yes.
Okay. Oh, well, I got it right. And then for dessert, I'm not sure this is actually from Switzerland, so again, I need Claudio to fact check. But I thought Swiss roll. You know, the Swiss sponge roll with the cream?
Yeah, I know the Swiss sponge roll is, I think, also something I first saw when I moved to the US. So. Oh.
Okay. So what Swiss dessert then should we have?
We are very good. So I mean, we are quite famous at meringue as well. So if you're liking your meringues, that's very good. And of course, we do a lot of because again we have a lot of fresh fruit. These fruit cakes with cherries, with apricots, and all that. So.
I'm salivating at the thought. And also I thought you could go skateboarding and pretend you were snowboarding. Anything else you can think to add to our little Swiss stay-at-home staycation?
Yeah. Well, when you're at home, well, I mean, you get very good cheeses here now in the US as well. Get yourself a little cheese platter and sit at home, have a glass of wine. Switzerland, funny enough, not that many people know that there is very good wine in Switzerland as well. The issue is that it's very small quantities and we are drinking it all ourselves, but have a glass of wine and a bit of cheese in the evening. That definitely is also what the Swiss person would do.
Sounds perfect. There you are, Switzerland in your own home without leaving. How fabulous is that? And now I know, Anita, you've been looking at the travel news over the last week or so.
Well, yeah, we mentioned earlier that we like funny things about travel. So I found something in Travel and Leisure, dated back on August 19th, about a town having snow, but the snow was actually chocolate. So I'd like to talk about a little bit about that. Chocolate snowflakes fell from the sky in a Swiss village after a malfunction at the Lindt factory. So I don't know if the villagers, if the people who lived in the village will consider it a malfunction or not. They're probably like, oh yes. So the residents of the town, Olten, Switzerland, which is located between Zurich and Basel, found that their town was lightly dusted with cocoa powder that came from the nearby factory. And it was actually confirmed by the factory that was actually a cooling ventilation system malfunction that kind of spread chocolates, out and about. So I just have one question. Why didn't they let me know this is going to happen? So that I could be there with some containers or just with my mouth open to catch some of this cocoa dust. I would have loved that. I wouldn't have thought it was a malfunction.
Gives a whole new meaning to the land where milk and honey flows, no? Right? I mean,
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And now, Claudio, as head of the Swiss Tourist Board, we want you to make that an annual event. Calendarize it, and we'll be there for the next chocolate snowstorm.
Yes.
Okay.
Along with another probably 200,000 people. We'll all be there.
Absolutely. We'll do that.
It'll be very popular, I'm sure. Anyway, so a bit of Swiss travel news from me. Apparently, Geneva are giving away gift cards to tourists of 100 Swiss francs, which is about 110 US dollars. Is that right, Claudio?
That is correct. If you stay in a Swiss hotel, so if you in a Geneva hotel, I should say, you get these extra vouchers in order to spend during your stay in the city. Funny fact as well, Geneva, also one of the cities, if you are booking a hotel in the city, you get free public transport within the city already, so with your hotel. So if you are now planning a trip to Switzerland and you start in Geneva, you don't have to get your rail pass from day one on, right? For the first 2 days when you're in the city, you can just use the free public transport within the city, and then you just book the rail pass from the day when you leave the city. So again, you save some money on that. But yes, the voucher system now introduced in Geneva in order to give a little bit of an extra incentive for people who will stay in the city.
That's great to know.
That's a great insider tip, definitely. Well, we've come down to the end of this great show, but I think, Claudio, we could just stay on and just kind of talk about Switzerland because Stephen and I both love it. We've enjoyed the conversation. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing with our viewers. But I would love, before we wrap up, for you to share a website so that we can start our planning for when we can travel. So what's a good website for everyone to check out?
So our website of the Swiss Tourist Board is myswitzerland.com. myswitzerland.com.
And can they also do all of the rail, get the rail pass and everything there?
The information is on there, all the information for rail tickets. Actually, there is a link, is myswitzerland.com/rail, and you get directly on all the information for the rail tickets.
Well, that is fantastic. I am ready to come back. And as I mentioned, I'll just mention again, you can have that cocoa kind of thing happen.
We would love to have you both again in Switzerland. It would be great.
That sounds great. So thank you so much for taking the time this morning because this morning here where we are, it's night where Stephen is, but this morning to come on and share all these wonderful traditions, things that we can eat, we can see, we can do all around Switzerland. So thank you so much, Claudia. You've been a fantastic guest. Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you, Claudio. And Nita, I said I would share an English saying on each show because England has so many diverse sayings. Our saying last week, Claudio, was you can talk the hind legs off a donkey. I don't know whether you come across that saying. So my one for this week, it's kind of associated really, which is don't look a gift horse in the mouth.
Yes.
So I think about it, was the free, $110 pass. So don't in the mouth. That's my English saying for this week. And I do know the origin of that one. So apparently you would check a horse's teeth to check how healthy it was. So what they're saying is if someone's giving you a free horse, you don't need to just take it, checking its health. So that's the background of that one.
I love that. We do have that saying here. I think it's probably other places as well, but we definitely have that saying here in the U.S. So yes, and that's a good one.
There you go. And there'll be another one on the next show. And actually our next show is going to be about Hong Kong. So very close for me since I'm in Hong Kong. And I'm going to definitely be taking you inside out of Hong Kong. I've been here for several years now, so I can take you on the beaten path, the tourist path, but also take you and give you some ideas on how to go off the beaten path and explore some of Hong Kong that tourists wouldn't need to see. And I can tell you, because I've been, like everyone, in lockdown, not been able to travel. So the last 6 months, I've really experienced Hong Kong, and you're just amazed at its beauty and diversity. And it's so much more than just a city skyline destination, an incredibly diverse country. But more of that on the next show.
Oh, fantastic. I'll be tuning in.
Excellent, Claudio.
Thank you, Claudia. And speaking of which, we'd love for you all to tune in as well as go to YouTube and well, you're at YouTube now, but make sure that you hit the subscribe button there, and also check out our social media. We are definitely on Facebook. Stephen and Anita take travel inside out. But this has been great. Thank you again, Claudia. It's been wonderful to have you on.
Pleasure.
Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to
Bye.
subscribe and like.
See you next time.
Bye.